This is a heavy statement. He says, myself, Lord Brahma, and other devas who rotate within this universe under the misconception of our greatness. We're
That's
all
what we're
rotating
doing right now.
It's what everybody's doing, right? Yeah.
The misconception of our greatness.
And rotating. In other words, I suppose you could say in many ways they rotate. Like, one person has the position of Brahma, and then another person has it, and then another person has it. But when I'm in it, I think I'm everything. So someone's at the top of the charts right now, in terms of music, and then it's going to rotate. And they're thinking, they're rotating under the misconception of the greatness. I'm the greatest, and then pretty soon they start to be forgotten, and then they're really forgotten, and then they're completely forgotten.
Yeah.
And someone else is rotating that position, and they're really bad. You're saying like that stuff is like, happening now. And so we're all rotating in our roles within our families, within our communities, within our occupations, within our nations, rotating. We can't hold on to anything.
I see it in my own self right now. There's times in society when there are, we have like more or less significance, We're significant with our looks, with our youth, with our strength, with our abilities. Now, I'm noticing myself as I'm older. People don't care. People don't care as much. You're not important in their eyes anymore. Your greatness is done in the eyes of man. You know what I mean? For the most part,
Yeah.
you're not noticed. People don't notice you as like a player in this material world. You might not have been anybody.
You
Just
burned
like,
that karma.
yeah, that karma's over now, and you see it. People speak of like, oh, like the elderly or like those elderly were very significant at one point in their life. They were like the coolest, the most attractive. They're the wealthiest, and then they become very old, and they become, perhaps except for their loved ones, they become just sort of an insignificant burden, if anything. And we don't look at them as, at least good people do, but to actually understand, like, don't you get it? You're the elderly. It's in a decade, in 2 decades, you're going to be the elderly.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from Super Soul Farm, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily spiritual podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center, New York City, Kaustubha. Welcome to the show. It's March 12th, 2025. This is episode 1552, and we're here live at the farm. First really nice sunny day yesterday.
Huh.
It was such a relief, wasn't it? Had 5 days of being back, and it was like, I can take sort of any temperature, but when it's windy, something just shuts down. I just want to lock myself in a room.
It's funny that you mentioned that, because in Rishikesh today it's warming up here now too. You really feel it coming now. Like the mornings are not so cold. But it was a windy morning, but it was like a refreshing windy. It was like, it didn't feel like a cold wind. It was really nice.
Well,
actually.
there's a Rishikesh always has winds in the morning that shoot down that ravine
Valley.
from the Ganga. I think it was something due to a curse of Markandeya Rishi or something, or a blessing of Markandeya Rishi.
It was a curse, a blessing.
It was something. Markandeya Rishi is responsible for the winds in Rishikesh.
Okay.
But anyway, good to see you. And Amara's been sick. She's been sick, and she's sick of being sick. Yeah, she's got like a cold.
It's just been a cold.
I'm wondering if some of the medicines that they gave you had side effects and they broke down your immunity system.
This
I think
woman's so healthy. She's so regulated.
Magnesium, I think, is the key at this point, Mara, all the way.
Magnesium.
She takes it.
That's going to help.
Takes it. She lives on magnesium.
Good.
Meantime, I'm sore for my day of swimming.
Oh, you went swimming. You see?
I went swimming.
Way to go,
Went
bro.
for a bike ride yesterday. I'm back on my bike, my first ride of the year, and then I went swimming.
How many laps?
I don't know. I just timed myself. I went 40 minutes.
It's a long
You
time.
It is
swam
a long
straight
time.
for
Used to
40
I was
minutes?
like, I'm not used to swimming laps, and I will say that I'm exhausted this morning. I was like, swimming can exhaust you. I guess it can.
Well, it works your whole body. Are you a good swimmer?
You know, I'm not a bad swimmer, but I've got swimming water issues. But in a pool, I feel safe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good for you, Raghu.
Yeah. I
Don't
wish I had a
overdo it in the
coach.
beginning because it might be hard to keep that 40-minute thing, that standard up. Figure out your minimum and then, you know.
Okay. Thank you for that.
Well, yeah. I'm behind you for the swimming thing, Raghunath. I'm
Thank
supporting
you. I
all
can tell
the way.
you've
All the
you've
way.
learned your lesson from yesterday. Mm.
That's right.
But I'm
Like bros, they gotta
exhausted
support each
today.
other with this kind of
Yeah.
stuff. All right.
And you know what? I'm really excited for this shelter tour, this 30-year of our record mantra, which was our biggest record. And we're going out on the
Are you
road.
gonna do like play the whole
We
record?
play the whole
like live?
record and some extra stuff. And you know, we're in Sweden. We're in
How many shows?
I think like 18 shows, something like
Oh,
that.
it's a pretty solid thing.
Yeah, it's out like or a few yoga classes, shows, book signings, and I start off with a big yoga festival in Gothenburg, Sweden. So
Okay.
we go 3 days of a yoga festival. The next day is a sold out show in Gothenburg. I'm still
But
amazed that
make
people still care about this type of
they
music.
care.
It's been
They care.
you
But make sure that you swim every day. That's I want to keep you on that program.
know,
I'm
you
gonna hold you
can
to that.
swim. You can swim in Europe. I've done it before on tour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shelter is playing in London on Good Friday. Ah, a holy day.
Mhm.
All right. I'm looking forward to seeing all our Wisdom and Sages peep out there.
All right.
All righty.
Ah.
I
Right,
want some
early?
announcements today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Announcement.
Mara, what's going on in announcement world?
We have in-person Back to Recovery group meeting tonight in Philadelphia at 7 p.m. Eastern time, and also
Filthy.
online. Yeah, and you can go to www.backtorecoverygroup.com to find out like their whole online meeting list.
They're .com or .org?
I think they're .com.
Okay.
Also, our Youth Sage group registration will open up this Saturday morning for age
Youth
9
Sage
to
group.
11. What is it? 9 to 11 and 11 to 15 or 13 to 15, something like that. 9 to 12 and 13 to 15.
Okay.
And then also happy birthday to Govinda Priya and our Zoomer Achyuta.
What?
Yeah.
Govinda
Yeah,
Priya
happy birthday,
Chuta.
Chuta. Hey, just a question. Like, say you were interested in getting your kid involved in this youth sage group. Is there someone you talk to? Is someone you call Ishwar Sundari or something? What do you do? Like, because maybe you don't really know what it is.
Yeah. What if you don't quite know what it is? Your kid doesn't know what it is. Hey, you're gonna join this group. They're gonna talk about little Krishna. You know, how do you get your kid to do that?
Well, you can either email sagegroups108@gmail.com, but also
There you go.
Akadasi Vreta is going to come on next week and discuss a little more about what's going to happen in the
Okay.
youth sage groups too.
Very,
All
very
right, so-
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, good.
What's
There'll
the
be adult
latest?
supervision in there, right?
Yeah.
What, in case the kids start smoking cigarettes? What do you think?
Anything could happen in there.
Anything can happen when you leave these teenagers alone. Hey, Kaustubha, what's going on in Rishikesh? Any notable devotees there? I mean, all devotees are
Radhika
notable, but-
Ranjan arrived doing quiche. I think I told you that yesterday, though. In the past day, I don't know, but a little baby calf arrived. You know, like right in front of my hotel. You know, these cows hang out. You know, and you get to know them.
Yeah.
I didn't even know this one was pregnant, and she just delivered a little baby right in front of our hotel. Like there's a little grassy area right in front of our hotel.
Yeah.
She just delivered the little sweet little baby, and the bull. He just stands like off to the side, you know, like just kind of
watching.
like he just stands there.
It's like a typical man.
Yeah, totally. He's not involved at all, but he seems like concerned, and he's off to the side.
Yeah.
He's not getting any of the inner affection that's going on.
Yeah, I know. I know the feeling well.
been
from
there?
my children. Yeah. I try to be like
Okay.
involved with the child births, but it was always sort of like, what do I do? What
But
do
you
I do?
backed
What do
out
I
at the
do?
last second.
No. My last son, I was in the tub.
In the tub. Whoa.
Yeah, we had
Okay.
the tub birth. And
There's like
the midwife
TMI.
said, okay, get in the tub. I went in with my clothes on. She's like, no, you can take your clothes off. So then I took all my clothes off. She's like, well, you don't have to take all of your
All your
clothes.
clothes. Raghu.
I
Raghu.
didn't know. I never did it before. I don't know how they work these things.
Oh,
Oh, Krishna.
all right. Yeah, yeah. I think the bull was a little like that. He didn't know what to do, so he just stood there. And
But I
when
found it
bulls
hard
just stand there.
I found it hard when the baby was like very newborn. It's like, what do I held the baby, but I was like, there's like a disconnect. The baby really sort of just wants the mom. Like I got along much better with my kids when they got a little bit into identifying me as a separate
Mother's all they
entity.
know. Mother's
Yeah.
all they know.
Yeah. Anyway, congratulations to Connor and Amanda's little baby.
Another baby coming into the world.
Yeah. Speaking of little calves. All right. We have 3, count them, 3 nuggets. And they all have to do with what we're talking about in this chapter. And there are 3 good ones, and we couldn't decide which ones. We said double it and then do another one.
Triple it.
Triple it. So we tripled the nuggets today, and we're going to read them straight through, one after another. The first one is by your favorite mysterious man and mine. His name was Confucius.
Okay.
To be wronged is nothing.
Nothing.
Unless you continue to remember it.
Now, a lot of people are going to have a problem with that, but I think I know. I think I get what he's saying.
You can pick one of these and comment. But I'll read them through first.
Okay,
now, the Dalai Lama.
Some kind of Dalai Lama over here.
The Dalai Lama says, in the practice of tolerance, one's enemy is the best teacher. Ooh.
Yeah.
And how do you say this? Epictetus.
Mara and I struggled with this for a few minutes. I don't know if we got anywhere on it. Epictetus.
Sounds like a disease.
Epictetus.
I've got a bad case of
Epictetus.
Epictetus. Maybe.
Hard to say.
Epictetus. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to that matters. That's like been the theme this week.
Yeah, it really has.
To be wronged is nothing unless you continue to remember it. Yeah. And yeah, I get it. That's a tricky one. It's sometimes hard to forget when we've been through such incredible pain, trauma, etc. But the point is still true. As it plays again and again in the mind, that's when the meaning that we put to it at the time, that's what sort of haunts the living entity. That's what haunts us.
There are certain memes out there, Raghu. I don't really know exactly what it represents, but like it'll show some like Roman kind of guy. Like it's like drawings, like pretty simple line drawings.
Yeah.
And he's got something to say. And then it shows like some bald line drawing guy and he's like always suffering intensely.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know exactly what that stuff is. Someone out there on the chat board.
Either what the origins are, but
yeah.
Okay, go on.
But I saw one like that, and it was just kind of showing. I think the one I saw lately was like the together guy was like, even though my arm has been chopped off and 5 of my 9 sons have died, I must fight on, for it is a noble cause, or something like that, right?
Right.
And then the other one shows like, the other guy who represents, I guess, like a person of today,
Yeah.
And he's like, just some little thing has him all disturbed and completely upset, and
The margarine's in the back of the refrigerator again.
Yes. Who put it back? That kind of thing. And I do think we are out of touch. We need to think more like these, like the first one. And so therefore, to be wrong is nothing. Granted, we don't want to get kicked around and stuff, but this is the way a progressive person just like leaves stuff behind and gets busy. When you got meaning in your life, when you really have some mission in life, you can just let stuff go. But if your life is meaningless, if it's just full of junk, if you work to make money to buy a house and pay for your Netflix, and you come home and you watch your Netflix and it's not moving towards anything dynamic, or you don't have something to contribute, something important, something meaningful, then yeah, you're going to get upset about stuff and you can't leave it behind. And you're going to feel like every little slight is going to feel like significant. You know.
Yeah. How often is therapy good? And then after what point does it become just so indulgent?
Yeah, that could be
You know what
there.
I mean?
Sure.
Where it's almost like hindering you from moving forward because it can be self-absorbed. I'd like to hear
You
some
just got to
feedback
leave it
on that.
behind. Yeah.
I'd like to hear some feedback on that. Like
Yeah.
I did a lot of like quote self-work,
Did you?
therapy, things like that. Yeah. And then I got married, had kids. And I was like, you know what? I got to worry about these little kids. And that took me right outside. And then I realized, I think
Got
a
you out
lot
of
of
your
my
own
stuff,
head.
I think it was really good for me, a lot of therapy, self-work, stuff like that. But then all of a sudden I just realized, you know what? I got to start caring about other people instead of being so absorbed in what I'm going through. I think that's why I like the 12-step program is like part of the recovery of healing any psychological stuff you're going through is extending your hand to other people who are going through
Hmm.
their own thing.
Hmm. That's like that statement about humility, right? Humility, it doesn't mean that you're thinking less of yourself,
Yeah.
but it means
Thinking of yourself less.
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got important stuff that's preventing you from just kind of getting stuck in those mental loops, you know? So I
know.
think Confucius is onto something. I think the
The
Dalai
Dalai Lama one
Lama.
is good too. The practice of tolerance, one's enemy is the best friend, right?
Yeah,
Sometimes we're
yeah,
dealt with a quote enemy. It could be
yeah.
a neighbor. Sometimes neighbors are just people have horrible experiences with neighbors. Sometimes it's an ex. People's like the person that they loved more than anybody in this world has now become their biggest enemy.
That
You know,
happens.
and so sometimes it's a relative. Um, so sometimes it's just a friend that just betrays them and they're like crushed from it. So whenever I see this, especially in bhakti, I always say, you know what? This person is making a lot of advancement because they're getting thrown these very, very difficult things to deal with. And they're
Yeah,
left to either just be miserable or deal with it. And oftentimes you're not going to change the person. There's certain people, no matter how much you apologize to them and take full responsibility, they're not going to have it. They are not ready for forgiveness. They don't want it. They are, they are being driven by spite. So you can apologize, you can take full responsibility, you can, ask nothing from them, and this is what I'm responsible for, and they might still hate your guts and want to take you down.
okay.
And what do you do with that? And in that process, you become a grown up almost.
You know, I like to think I don't have any enemies. There's definitely some
Oh, you do.
people that
You
there's definitely some people that are like don't like me out there for sure.
Everybody's got a nemesis.
Everybody's got the crazy Joe DeVola in their life, one or two.
Yeah.
But I like to think I don't really have an enemy. Although I'll say this, when I look deep in my heart, there are people, even people in the devotional community, that I just bear some resentment against. Like it's there. Yeah, it's there. And recently, I feel a little good that I think I've been letting it go a little bit. Yeah, let it
You never
go.
shared this with me. You never shared. You got some resentment?
I can share with you at another time. I'm not going to do it on this show.
Right
But
now?
what I'll share is that it feels good. And I would really like to be at that place where not only do I not have an enemy, but really I just don't have any kind of animosity towards anyone. It's just not there at all. Oh, then the things are going to open up, Raghunath. I can feel it, right? Get to that stage.
It's a very special stage, Kaustubha. You're very close, but you get a little bit more work. You got to show a little bit more vulnerability.
Okay.
We can
Thank
help
you, Raghunath.
We can help you.
Thank you. Thank you.
But
How
it's
about
true.
you?
It's true. Oh, I'm a rack.
All right. So
All
yeah,
right.
we were someone mentioned. Oh, I think I mentioned on the show too, where like someone saying like Ram Dass had this thing where like he'd put photos of his enemies, or the people that really hate him or that he hates or something like that. The people that really get him. He put their picture on his altar. Okay, that's I might not. I might want to keep my altar like a little different than that,
Right.
but I think I get get his point, you know.
Well, I had a thing like that this year. Like usually I pray for all the
Oh,
people that have like helped me out in my life.
yeah.
Um, you know, at Radhakund at a sacred place, which is like a potent prayer spot.
I wouldn't do that at Radhakund, but if you do, that's interesting. To me, I would. Radhakund seems like just for different, but okay, I'm interested. I want to hear about this.
No, I pray for their bhakti, right? Because Radharani,
Oh, to pray to Radharani. Okay. Yeah,
Radharani has bhakti, so I'm asking her for some
that makes
bhakti
sense.
for these people. But this year I did
And
it differently. This year I did it differently. I took the people that had like really broke me and hurt me, and I felt like
no.
betrayed or something like, and I felt like
How many people were on that list?
you were. No, you were not. Although I
Well,
have
you
prayed for
were.
you, you were not. There was like a small handful that I felt like I did so
Okay.
much for, and they were just like blew me off.
All right.
And I realized like it's such a good thing for myself. And you might not get the people to ever be like, yeah, all right, let's make amends. But what you do get is you get a free heart. Your heart becomes free, and your mind becomes free. And so it was really, and you get to pray for their. You get to pray for them. You
get
pray
to
that you become their well wisher. That's what we're
yeah.
supposed to be. We want
There
to
you
be
go.
everybody's well wisher, not
Yeah.
just the people that are like us, not the people that are just part of our religion or our tribe. We want to be everybody's well wisher. Give them what they need in this life. You know, give them give them what they desire in this life, and eventually I pray that it brings them closer to you. You know, it's very freeing for me, and because we're doing what we're supposed to be doing, being a well-wisher and friend of people.
Nice. And you also, because Krishna's there, it really has a lot to do with your own relationship with Krishna, you know? Like Krishna, I've been holding resentments against your people, you know?
Yeah, they're Krishna's
And,
people.
and I don't want to do that anymore. So I'm praying for them. And I'm here with you. You know, I want to be, you know, I don't want to separate myself from you. I want my heart to be in alignment with yours. I know you care about them, so then I should care about them.
Yeah, that's another great point, is that they are Krishna's people too.
Yeah. All right.
All right. All right. You can pray for me at Mother Ganga there.
Okay, I'll do that.
I'll do that. Okay. I already prayed for you there, so it's
We
sort
had
of
a we had a beautiful day at Ganga
little
today.
payback, please.
What's that? Payback prayer?
Well, I prayed for you. I was hoping you're going to pray for me.
I'll do it.
And Mara prayed for you too. You can pray for both of us.
Okay. Anybody else on the list?
I'll text you a list, but
I'm sick of this. I can't take it anymore. So praying for this person, praying for that.
it should be like some mutual understanding. If I'm going to pray for you, you better pray for me back.
That's the only reason why he did it in the first place. But we had a
prayer if
beautiful.
I let you know about it.
It still counts, I think. We had a beautiful day at the Ganga today. It's so nice here right now. It's like I think it's the perfect time of year to be here.
Yeah.
And we were, you know, the water's real cold, but Tara and I just went in there and stayed for a long time, you know, and just chanted and just got into it. To be there in that liquid, you know, Charnamrita of the Lord, you know, that has landed and washed.
The Ganga is. It's the Charnamrita of the Lord.
Yeah. It's washed the Lord. It's Lord Shiva, you know, fell on his head. It's so inviting. You look at just the color of it, you just want to go in, you know, and the cold. Actually, it's not a turnoff at all. It feels purifying, you know. It feels like
adds to it.
Yeah, it feels like it's giving you life. And we sat in there for a long time, and then it started rising. Do you know why it rises like that? Do they open a dam somewhere?
Yeah, they open dams. It can rise really high.
It really rises fast.
You know, I had this one student of mine from New York, and you know, she was sort of like a spiritual searcher type, but she was also a model. And she was like, "Yeah, I'm going to go to the Ganga. I'm going to go to India and do a photo shoot." I was like, "Oh, great!" And then she came back like cut and scraped, and it was just very peculiar. I was like, "What happened to you?" She's like, "Well, I broke off from my modeling gig, and I went to the Ganga, and I went camping on the beach. And in the middle of the night, the Ganga rose, and it dragged her down the beach in a tent." in a tent.
That's insane.
Is that insane? And she's like, I lost everything, but miraculously, she said, I found my passport. But I was like,
I thought you were going to say, I found
up.
my path. I found my path.
No.
And it's tents bathing.
It's miraculous. Yeah, but there's signs that say, be careful. The Ganga can raise something like, 10 meters.
Well, they make an
at
announcement just before it happens. You can hear it.
That's scary.
No, I mean, it doesn't rise that fast. It's, like
Yeah,
it takes
time.
about like 20 minutes. It goes up an inch or something like that,
Yeah. Okay, let's get on with the show, sir.
All right. Do it.
Narayanam namaskrityanam shaivanaratamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudirayat. Before we started the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, which is our very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, and to Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayeshu bhadreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavati uttama bhaktir bhavati naishtaki. By regular attendance in classes in the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotees. All this troublesome to the heart will become eradicated. And loving service to the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, will be established as an irrevocable fact. Om Agyana Tamarandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Madatam Nena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance. My teachers are opening my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my obeisances at their lotus feet. Reading from the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 4, Text 50.
What's happening again?
It's all happening. There was a curse.
Oh, curse came down.
Curse from Ambarīṣa, but the chakra that was owned by the great pious king, I'm sorry, a curse from Durvāsā was consumed by the chakra of Ambarīṣa, which was on loan to him by Lord Vishnu.
Yeah.
And it consumed that. So now Durvāsā is dealing with this chakra that's now chasing him. Lord Vishnu's chakra is chasing a great, mystic.
Okay, so he's going to try, like, he's high level, right? He's very high level, Durvāsā. Where does he go to take shelter? Who's he going to go to, right? Like, he's in trouble. When you're in trouble, you go to someone that's got more power than you, got more influence than you, right?
If you're the colonel, you don't go to the lieutenant. You got to go to the general.
That's right. Yeah. So where's he going to go? Let's see.
As the blazing flames of a forest fire pursue a snake, the disk of the Supreme Personality of Godhead began following Durvāsā Muni. Durvāsā Muni saw that the disk was almost touching his back, and thus he ran very swiftly, desiring to enter a cave of Sumeru Mountain. This is like right out of a cartoon almost,
Yeah.
It's like Bugs Bunny.
It's hard to picture it exactly. I'm sure it wasn't exactly like a cartoon, but it does sound like that when you hear it.
It does. It's almost touching his back. He's hiding. It's right out of
he's running.
Looney Tunes.
Like, the question is, like, because he's going to have some conversations with people now, but how does he talk to them when this thing is chasing him all along, You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Just to protect himself, Durvāsā Muni fled everywhere in all directions, in the sky, on the surface of the earth, in caves, in the ocean, on different planets of the rulers of the three worlds, and even on the heavenly planets. But wherever he went, he immediately saw, following him, the unbearable fire of the Sudarshan Chakra.
Okay. Now this next line, this reveals a lot about what it's like when you are offensive, unappreciative to those that are dear, those that are have that spiritual purity.
I mean, I get it. Maharaj Ambarīṣa seemed like a worldly man. He was a king. He was an emperor. He had probably a big house. Probably drove a great car. Probably had fancy clothes. Probably
so the mystic thought, look at this guy.
He probably had horses, a bunch of pets hanging around,
He
lots
judged him.
of jewelry. Imagine
But we
the
heard that he
jewelry
wasn't. We heard
What?
that he wasn't attached at all to any of it.
It doesn't mean he can't have it.
No, I'm saying he may have had it, but what Durvāsā maybe didn't know, but what we know.
Durvāsā's walking around in like animal pelts, perhaps, or rags. He had long dreaded hair, so it seems like, This person's detached and this person's attached.
I'm
Wrong.
detached. He's attached. And look, he offends me. He should be showing me all kinds of respect. All kinds of respect.
You know what's also cool about this? It just sort of makes you like penetrate into the concept of what is actually attachment. Is
Okay.
it just I don't brush my hair and I just wear old clothes from Salvation Army or something? Does that mean you're actually attached, or are you very, very attached? You know, just like you and me when we were in
Yeah.
our punk days. I really thought I was being a nonconformist because no one in school dressed like this. But the fact was, as soon as I met a devotee told me this idea of sex, and then there's subtle sex, which is which is profit, distinction, and adoration.
Okay.
They say that's considered subtle sex.
Subtler form of enjoyment.
Yeah, so
Wherein you
another
are the
extension of
enjoyer
your
and the
ego,
master.
really.
And yeah.
Yeah, and I thought, man, my whole idea of being punk had nothing to do with me being unique or finding myself. It was just me trying to be distinct and noticed to impress other people. It's just an extension of my ego. It really had nothing to do with me being like this clever, unique, nonconformist. I
Who are
was just
you trying to impress?
you,
If we didn't know each other then.
you, the opposite sex, you know,
Okay,
my
that's
tribe.
that's
I mean,
better.
come on,
Okay.
who do we try to impress in this world?
All right.
With a
Okay,
fearful
so
heart.
yeah, there's the point. With a fearful heart, do we want to have a fearful heart? If you
No.
don't want to have a fearful heart, then we gotta look to this example of Ambarīṣa, right?
Good point.
And
Even if
see
you
how much
have-
of the Durvāsā is in us.
Yeah, because Durvāsā has powers. He has powers.
Yeah,
He has potency.
influential.
And it's not just normal
Reputation.
material powers. It's like almost mystical, paranormal, metaphysical powers.
Yeah.
With a fearful heart, Durvāsā Muni went here and there seeking shelter. But when he can find no more shelter, he finally approached Lord Brahma and said,
Okay, so
"My
this is a
lord,"
higher level person, right?
right? "Oh, my lord, oh, Lord Brahma, kindly protect me from the blazing Sudarshan chakra sent by the Supreme Personality of Godhead."
Yikes! It's getting hot.
Lord Brahma said, "At the end of Dviparadra, when the pastimes of the Lord come to an end, Lord Vishnu, by a flick of his eyebrows, vanquishes the entire universe, including our places of residence. Such personalities as me and Lord Shiva, as well as Daksha, Brigu, and similar great saints." So he's mentioning all these powerful beings.
Yeah.
Of which they are the head, and also the rulers of the living entities, the rulers of human society, and the rulers of the demigods, all of us surrender to that Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu, bowing our heads to carry out his orders for the benefit of all living entities.
Okay.
When
So Vishnu, with the flick of his eyebrows, can vanquish a universe, and you're coming to me when he's the one that's after you. I'm not going to be able to help you here.
You know, I can imagine this. You know, sometimes we're in a position, especially when we were kids. You could do something where like, I'm going to destroy this entire ant colony. Boom. You know, like they have a whole like society going on. They're building. They're working towards a goal, and all of a sudden, you just come back with your big fat foot, and you just boom, step on the entire ant colony and like kill hundreds of ants. It's the same thing. It's like this universal devastation. It happens in a moment. We don't. This is like a concentric circle. Lord Vishnu he's going to take the life of everybody away in a moment. So I can
Can't
imagine
do
this. Lord Shiva said, no.
When
55.
Durvāsā,
When Durvāsā, who was greatly afflicted by the blazing fire of the Sudarshan chakra, was thus refused by Lord Brahma, he tried to take shelter of Lord Shiva, who always resides on his planet known as Kailash. Lord Shiva said, "My dear son, I, Lord Brahma, and the other demigods who rotate within this universe under the misconception of our greatness cannot exhibit any power to compete with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, for innumerable universes and their inhabitants come into existence and are annihilated by the simple direction of the Lord."
this is a heavy statement. He says, myself, Lord Brahma, and other devas who rotate within this universe under the misconception of our greatness. We're
That's
all
what we're
rotating
doing right now.
It's what everybody's doing, right? Yeah.
The misconception of our greatness.
And rotating. In other words, I suppose you could say in many ways they rotate. Like, one person has the position of Brahma, and then another person has it, and then another person has it. But when I'm in it, I think I'm everything. So
Right.
someone's at the top of the charts right now, in terms of music, and then it's going to rotate. And they're thinking, they're rotating under the misconception of the greatness. I'm the greatest, and then pretty soon they start to be forgotten, and then they're really forgotten, and then they're completely forgotten.
Yeah.
And someone else is rotating that position, and they're really bad.
Yeah.
You're saying like that stuff is like, happening now. And so we're all rotating in our roles within our families, within our communities, within our occupations,
Sure.
within our nations, rotating,
Sure.
rotating, rotating. We can't hold on to anything.
I see it in my own self right now. There's times in society when there are, we have like more or less significance. We're significant with our looks, with our youth, with our strength, with our abilities. Now I'm noticing myself as I'm older, people don't care. People don't care as much. You're not important in their eyes anymore. Your greatness is done in the eyes of man. You know what I mean? For the most part, you know,
Yeah.
you're not noticed. People don't notice you as like a player in this material world. You might not have been anybody.
You
It's just
burned
like,
that karma.
yeah, that karma's over now. And you see it. People speak of like, oh, like the elderly or like those elderly were very significant at one point in their life. They were like the coolest, the most attractive, they're the wealthiest. And then they become very old and they become, perhaps except for their loved ones, they become just sort of an insignificant burden, if anything. And we don't look at them as, at least good people do, but to actually understand, like, don't you get it? You're the elderly. It's in a decade, in two
Yeah.
decades, you're going to be the elderly. You're
It's
going to
like
be, your
I
greatness
was
is
saying
over.
there's that in the catacombs, right, where you walk in and there's all these. It's just full of all different skeletons posed in different ways.
Which ones?
But
In
when
France? In
I think
Paris?
I think it was in Rome, where Radha Swami writes about it in the Journey Home.
Oh, the one where
There's a sign. You
see
walk
it,
it in,
you
the
see
skeleton.
us.
No,
You
yeah,
too will
as
be.
we are,
As we are now, soon you will be.
no, I think it's as you are
Where
now,
you
we
are
once
now.
were.
We once
As
were.
you are now, listen, as you are now, we once were. As we are now, you will soon be. Right.
Yeah, it's just so
Yeah.
real.
That's
Yeah.
very real.
It's easier just to lump the elderly in as, well, they're just like elderly, a little dumber, a little slower. Like my poor
They're gonna be
mom.
there.
I'm sending my mom like text messages of photos of me and Mara, and she's just like, I can't work this thing. I don't know. I was like, you don't have to work a text message. But then again, my 11-year-old is showing me how to do stuff on my phone. I was like, I don't
Right.
care. I don't. I'm becoming that myself.
Right.
But my point is, each one of them had a significant life, had significant purpose, had significant goals, had significant beauty or strength or power within this world. And that greatness is on rotation.
Right.
There's
Greatness on
newer
rotation.
players. Yeah.
Another thing is that in one sense, Lord Shiva gave him a zoom out, right? Durvāsā. He doesn't say directly, but it's implied. You think you're a big deal. You walk around with like hundreds, maybe even thousands of disciples behind you. You have this power that just terrifies all the people that you come in contact with, right? Everybody's like,
Yeah.
oh no, Durvāsā's coming. We better be really careful.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
can curse us.
get on
He's
our
got
A
mystic
game.
power. Yeah, and you're walking around, bewildered by this, with this misconception of your own greatness. And you know what? You rotate into that position of influence, and then you rotate out of it, and someone else is in it. But Vishnu, innumerable universes and their inhabitants come into existence and are annihilated by his simple direction. He's on a whole nother level. And what you need to understand is not only is he powerful, but he's very beautiful and sweet, and he loves very deeply. And when you come into contact with that which he loves, you better learn to check your ego. You better and you did in this case. You were judging, you got all caught up in your own little tiny power that you have. You think it's big, it's not.
It's not big.
And you brought that ego into Ambarīṣa. And actually, if you would have slowed down and taken a deep breath, you would have seen he wasn't offending you at all. He was actually very conscientiously following out his dharma. He didn't want to feast before you arrived there, so he drank a little bit of water so that he could honor his fast for Lord Vishnu and honor his service to you. You didn't even slow down to take note of that. You never even slowed down to take a look at, yeah, granted, he's a king. Granted, he lives in material opulence. He's got wives and wealth and all of this. But you never looked close at him and never saw just how deeply spiritual this person is. You better learn just how sacred these things are. Otherwise, you're gonna feel this burning feeling even more.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Put him in his place.
Yeah. Material world has a way of just cutting you apart, doesn't it? Cutting your ego apart.
It does. Yeah. And Shiva, he's being soft heavy. It's like
Yeah.
he's saying heavy stuff, but he's saying it like with a caring mood, and he'll continue here.
Lord Shiva said,
No, past, present.
past, present. Okay, I'm sorry. Past, present, and the future are known to me, Lord Shiva. Sanat Kumar Narada, the most revered Lord Brahma, Kapila, the son of Devahuti, Ampataratma, Lord Vyasadeva, Devala, Yamaraj, Asuri, Marichi, and many saintly persons headed by him, as well as many others who have achieved perfection.
So they got this Trikalagya. They can see past, present, and future.
Yeah. Nonetheless, because we are covered by illusory energy of the Lord, we cannot understand how expansive that illusory energy is.
Mm-hmm.
You should simply approach that Supreme Personality of Godhead to get relief, for this Sudarshan Chakra is intolerable, even to us. Go to Lord Vishnu. He will certainly be kind enough to bestow all good fortune upon you. Kaustubha, this is why these things like the 6 opulences. Mara, can you name the 6 opulences?
Of Bhagavan?
Bhagavan. Well, the 6 opulences of the material realm.
Beauty.
So there's people who are so beautiful that they can stop traffic. They're just people are like, what?
Knowledge.
People are just so smart. You want to just shut up and listen to them.
Strength.
They're just these people are doing just like these parkour things. Like what? You're gonna just dive and flip from one building to another and land and climb down a building, or climb up a building. It's like, what?
Wealth or fortune.
Well, you meet someone did you hear about, if you have a friend that's really wealthy, you're impressed by it. Go ahead.
Renunciation.
People are offered so much wealth, they're not interested. That the detachment that you're crazy. You're not going to take the job. Not interested. I don't need it.
Knowledge. Did I say knowledge?
Knowledge, strength.
I think you said that one, yeah.
Renunciation. Power.
Beauty.
Beauty? You got beauty.
Intelligence. Anyway, I think you did pretty good.
You got most of it. You always miss one.
Fame. Thank you.
Fame.
Yeah,
They're so famous.
People are just so famous. They're like, did you see who that was? So all those things, what they do is the illusion. Maya works with making you think that you are the center of the universe. And when you have one of those things in great amount, it starts to feed that illusion. Everyone thinks I'm famous. Everyone's worshiping me. They think I'm the coolest person. I must be the coolest person. I always thought I was the coolest, but now I am getting the accolades I deserve. Or people know that I'm very wealthy, so I come into the room and people are giving me that attention, or I'm very beautiful, and people are just stopping. I get pulled over by a cop, and he looks at me and he lets me go. You're beautiful. You keep going. Whatever it is, those so-called material opulence, so that so-called good karma, can keep us buried in the material realm. And it's sometimes harder for us to just have common sense meaning a life filled with reality, where I know I'm not the biggest or the greatest or the most beautiful. But imagine if you were the heavyweight champion and you were the greatest, like Muhammad Ali, I'm the greatest, and you have everyone else saying, you are the greatest champ, you are the greatest, or like the most beautiful, a Sophia Loren or something. What must it be like when everything comes crashing down and old age takes over your body and you realize no, I'm not the greatest.
It's rotating.
It's rotating. I just, for some reason, I get the people doing motorcycle tricks on my Instagram feed, and
I think parkour as well. I got the feeling parkour. Maybe
it's unbelievable. Well, we've taken just life to the next level. People have learned, okay, monkeys can do this. I'm going to do this with my body, or squirrel suit things. It's just like unbelievable what people are doing nowadays. But it's like, and when we were young, it was like Evel Knievel, who was doing nothing. Evel Knievel was doing nothing compared to what they're doing now with motorcycles.
He jumped over a bunch of buses. That's nothing.
Jumped over a couple Winnebagos. That's about it. And he crashed. And we were all still up. And if you actually watch those old Evel Knievel videos, you have thousands of people like cheering for him. Like, I can't believe he just did that. And it's like nothing. Move over. There's someone newer, someone greater. And then that person has to move over. There's someone more famous, more dynamic, sells more records, has more money, much more beautiful. And where is your beauty now anyway? Where is the champ? To see Muhammad Ali when he's old. It's sort of like, oh, he's, punch drunk or,
and now Henry says that Muhammad Ali was actually very sweet and humble in person when he met him.
Oh, really? All right, Henry.
I think he was just kind of, that was part of his act,
then if you are very sweet and humble, then there's less illusion.
Yeah.
And if you're not sweet and humble, then there's a massive amount of illusion you have to deal with, and it cracks our hard shell of ego.
Thank you, Raghu.
I wonder if Henry tried to fight him.
I don't think so.
All right. Text 60. Thereafter, being disappointed, even in taking shelter of Lord Shiva, Durvāsā Muni went to Vaikuntha Dham, where the Supreme Personality of Godhead Narayan resides with his consort, the Goddess of Fortune.
Yeah, it's interesting that Shiva said, you go to Lord Vishnu. He will certainly be kind enough to bestow all good fortune upon you. He knows his character. He knows how sweet he is. You go there. It's good. You work it out. You be humble. You go show up there. It'll work out. Okay.
Thereafter, being disappointed in taking shelter of Lord Shiva, Durvāsā Muni went to Vaikuntha Dham. Okay, I just read that. Durvāsā Muni, the great mystic, scorched by heat of the Sudarshan chakra, fell at the lotus feet of Narayan, his body trembling, and he spoke as follows. Oh, infallible, unlimited Lord, protector of the entire universe. You are the only desirable objective for all devotees. I am a great offender, my Lord. Please give me protection.
Oh. What else?
Pretty cool. Well, it's pretty cool. Who wrote this on the board? Achyuta said it's pretty interesting that Durvāsā can just go to Vaikuntha.
Yeah, there must be explanations
some,
from the
golden
acharyas. Somehow he was able to do it. Maybe I'll look into that for tomorrow's show. See if I come up with anything like that.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead. Oh, my Lord, O Supreme Controller, without knowledge of your unlimited prowess, I have offended your most dear devotee.
Okay, knows what he did wrong.
Very kindly save me from the reaction of this offense.
Okay.
You can do everything, for even if a person is fit for going to hell, you can deliver him simply by awakening within his heart the holy name of your lordship.
Interesting. I think we break here, Raghunath. Tomorrow there will be. We're going to hear from Lord Vishnu himself, and we're going to really hear about what makes the Lord tick, like how he thinks, what's in his heart, what's in his mind, how he feels, and particularly it all is about his relationship with his devotees, and just how powerful just how powerful the love that the devotees feel for Krishna is. You know, we'll hear a theological conception of God that's maybe very different than the kind of stuff that we're used to, and it's a very beautiful, very very beautiful look inside the heart of the Lord.
You're very
Right.
beautiful. How about that?
Well, thank you, Raghunath.
Ready
What about
for
Mara?
some takeaways?
Mara's very beautiful too. Look at that smiling face of Mara. She's so damn
Thank you.
sattvic. I'm not used to it.
All right, I got some good takeaways today.
Yes.
If your life is meaningless, the littlest slight bothers you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Stop being so absorbed in what you're going through and care for others.
Yeah.
Okay.
Get out of your own head.
Mhm. The most difficult people can be the best for your growth.
They can be.
Free your heart and mind and become everyone's well-wisher.
That's what we're trying to get.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's what I got.
They're Krishna's people too. We should care about them.
They're
Okay.
Krishna's people.
Yeah,
Kaustubha.
Krishna's people.
All of them.
Let
Yeah.
go of the resentment.
I'm trying.
Kaustubha. Try
Mhm.
harder.
See, now that's, I don't know if that's helpful.
Be like King Ambarīṣa to relinquish the fearful heart.
Okay.
We're rotating in this universe under the misconception of our greatness.
Of our
That's a
great,
killer one right there.
self-absorbed,
Rotating like a rotisserie chicken, just like.
Yeah, it's cooking. And then what is another word? Is it our greatness, our self-absorption, our self? I can't think. Okay.
Inflated false sense of self.
Yeah,
Mm.
inflated false sense of self.
Slow down, take note, and see he's deeply spiritual, or you'll get burned.
Okay. Oh yeah. In other words, the devotee. Yeah.
Yeah.
Burn, baby, burn.
You don't even know what the song is.
Burn that
You
mother
don't
down. Yeah. What's that?
Disco Inferno.
Yeah.
The Tramps.
The Tramps? It wasn't REO Speedwagon?
Oh, Raghunath.
I heard
That
him.
was just-
Yeah,
that was
like
so
deeply
far
heard of
off. That was like you were like just in a completely different
Wasn't it-
stratosphere. The Tramps are a disco band.
Okay. Wasn't REO Speedwagon a
No.
disco band?
No, our horse Speedwagon was an arena rock, just a whole nother thing. Like,
Okay.
it's
Sorry.
polar opposite.
All right, back to our takeaways. Good karma can bury us in Maya,
Good karma can ruin
Yeah.
your life.
and
And
Mhm.
move over, evil Knievel. There's someone greater now.
move over, evil. He tried. And he was
I don't think he was
making-
really evil.
No, he wasn't evil. He was probably a great guy.
Yeah.
Probably a little
He
puggle.
he had a beef with the Hell's Angels. He was kind of fearless guy, like he
Yeah.
kind of stood up to them all just on his own. They didn't like him,
Interesting.
but he was
Anyway,
like,
thanks for joining us, everyone. Hope I'm seeing some people on tour in Europe. That would be nice. Me and Mara on tour. You got any Swedes out there, or Germans out there, or Amsterdam peeps out there? Or we're going to Budapest.
Looking forward to it. I've never been there.
Yeah, looking forward. I've been to Budapest, but never. I've been to Hungary, but never Budapest. So I'm looking forward to that too.
this is
Anyway,
shelter
thanks
tour,
everybody for
right?
joining us.
This is shelter
Shelter
youth
tour,
today.
yeah.
Who are you touring
Shelter.
with? No, but like what other bands?
I don't know. We're headlining. I don't know.
All right.
Oh.
It says Budapest is beautiful.
Budapest is beautiful, Martine. Maybe you should come and roadie also, Martine. What do you think about that? Can you carry a
I'll get Martine in there, yeah. Martine, Road Rage, Velcro. That's a
Aaron
serious crew.
Erskine. Aaron Erskine, you gotta in the Chuta, you gotta arrange like a book signing for me somewhere. Or not an Easter egg hunt. Oh, is it on Easter Sunday? Is that when it's happening?
Good crowd.
Not an Easter egg hunt. It's not exactly what we're looking for.
Yeah. David Houseworth, he'd be a good roadie. It's like, take me on tour. Come on. Give you a great roadie. We should take a Wisdom of the Sages tour. Play any instruments, Kaustubha? Start little bands.
I can figure something
Mara
out.
playing the tambourine. Chicka, 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 chicka. Mara's like Tracy from the Partridge Family. I'd be David Cassidy. No, I'd be Danny Bonaducci. You could be David Cassidy. Or you could be Ruben. Maybe Linda would be Ruben.
Who? Henry could be Ruben.
Henry could be Ruben.
And then we need like we need to bring in someone as like Florence Henderson or whatever her name, or Shirley Partridge. Oh,
Who?
is that her
Shirley
name?
Partridge?
The mother.
The mother. Let's see. Let's see. How about Nancy Rothman? You could be Shirley Jones.
Okay, why not?
Okay. And
That
Yvette
works.
Elizabeth, you could be Lori Partridge. How about that?
Okay.
All right, I know this is going to a
I
meme
think
soon.
I think for like Lori Partridge, the
but
little girl.
I really think, as much as American culture road rage knows, I don't know if he knows the Partridge Family.
You always say that Europeans don't know, but maybe they do.
Yeah, they do. Okay.